What's up, y'all? Today we're going to go over how to write perfect sales emails in 2024. With all the new updates to Google's spam blocker, it's become more difficult than ever to ensure that your prospects are actually receiving your emails. Moreover, your emails need to be structured in such a way that you're going to ensure your prospect actually opens and responds to these emails. So today I'm going to share 8 tips that I've been using to help you increase your open and response rates, book more meetings, and ultimately make more money. By the way, my name is Justin Solis. I'm an enterprise account executive with 9 years of experience. I currently carry a $1.4 million quota, and I've been the top rep of my company for the last 2 years, and I do build my own outbound pipeline. So starting with tip number 1, your subject line should be 3 to 4 words max. A big mistake that a lot of sellers make is they write these really long subject lines that are very formally structured with capitalization, looking like they're titles to something. This is going to be quickly identified by your prospect as spam. This is going to decrease the likelihood that they're even going to open the email. The second tip is subject lines are not for selling. They are merely meant to pique interest, right? If your prospect opens the email, you're going to get the opportunity to try to sell them your product in the body of that email. No need to start that process in the subject line, because if they never open it, they're never going to hear anything that you have to say. So your subject line, once again, should be 3 to 4 words max, and it should be something that piques their prospect's interest. Oftentimes what I like to do is make the subject line look as though it's an internal email, or make it look like it has some sort of urgency to it, right? So let's say I was selling budgeting software to Acme Co. I would say something to the effect of September budgeting cycle, upcoming budget reconciliation, something that when that financial stakeholder who may want to buy my budgeting software sees that email, they're going to think, I better open this. Now, let's say that you're having some trouble brainstorming on ideas for subject lines and you're not exactly sure what to say. Something that you can do is use Magical's AI Assist. So I can actually come in here, open up Magical, and I'm going to write a prompt to the AI. I'm basically going to say, write me 10 subject lines that are 3 to 4 words max about Acme Co.'s upcoming budget cycle. Now I'm going to put that into AI Assist, and Magical is going to do its thing. And now I've got 10 subject lines that I could potentially leverage in order to send this email over to my stakeholders at Acme Co. Okay, so now that we have a few different options for some short and engaging subject lines that are going to build urgency for your prospect, let's move on to the actual body of the email. Body of the email is where you're actually going to do the selling, and this is the portion that is going to actually increase your response rate, right? So let's move on to step number 3, which is around the structure of the email. The structure of the email should always be in a 3x3 format. 3x3 means no more than 3 lines per paragraph and no more than 3 paragraphs per email. The reason being is A, you want this to be optimized for mobile, and B, you want to make sure that it's something that your prospect can easily consume. Writing super long emails or emails that are structured with a lot of different paragraphs will lead to your prospect looking at the email and thinking to myself, don't have time, increasing the likelihood that they're going to send that over to the trash bin, right? So write your emails in a 3x3 structure. Here's an example of a short 3x3 email right here that I've written to a finance buyer. Step 4 is around the method to the 3x3 structure. So the first section of the 3x3 should be context. The second section should be value, and the third section should be the ask. So if we look at this 3x3 email that I just wrote, the first section here, this is the context. Other finance leaders tell me budget cycles are a nightmare. Spreadsheets getting sliced and diced and sent around. They're praying comp data doesn't end up in the wrong place. So I'm talking about why I'm reaching out to you. You're a finance leader. I chat with other finance leaders. They tell me that this is a pain they experience. And I'm also attempting to instill a little bit of fear by talking about all of the negative outcomes that exist with your current process, right? Talking about worrying about data ending up in the wrong hands, having to slice and dice, right? Referring to the amount of time that they're likely spending using a more manual process that my process can improve. And then we move on to the value that we're adding with our product, right? So Budget Co integrates with your HRSN cap table to pull all of your compensation data into one secure place to reduce mistakes and increase spend efficiency. Reducing mistakes and increasing spend efficiency are the value that my product would provide over their current process, right? And finally, making the ask. Horribly opposed to a chat to see if we can help. Now, this may seem like a funny way to ask for time, but there's actually a little bit of psychology behind this. By structuring my ask in a way where the desired answer is no, it increases the likelihood of a response. Most people, their automatic reaction is to say no. So as opposed to saying, are you open to having a conversation? I'm gonna say, would you be opposed to having a conversation? So moving on to step 5. Because most emails are viewed on mobile, it is really important that in addition to the subject line, the first 7 to 10 words of your email will grab their attention. Because if you've ever seen an email on your phone, you'll know that the preview shows the subject and those first 7 to 10 words. So in that context section, I often like to include something about other people in your role, or people often tell me that they're experiencing X. You're taking a stab at what you think that potential problem could be in hopes that that will pique their interest. Starting with a problem statement as opposed to a value statement is always a good idea when you're trying to get people to grab onto something. People are more motivated by fear, and at the end of the day, they don't know what your product does. They are going to get dozens of emails like this every day. So in an attempt to stand out, show that you know your prospect, that you know their problem, and take a consultative approach to that opening context line. This is going to significantly increase the likelihood of them opening and engaging with your email. So moving on to step 6. Emails, in addition to being well organized, should always be short. So short that the read time should be 30 seconds or less. Statistically, emails that are over 30 seconds in read time have a much lower likelihood of response. Once again, your prospect is an extremely busy executive. They have a lot of things going on. They are getting bombarded with sales emails. And so give them an email that they can consume quickly, and this is going to lead to them having a much higher likelihood of actually reading your email in its entirety. In the same vein, step number 7 is always use simple words, avoid complex language, and watch out for run-on sentences. The reason being is that according to Gong and Lavender, emails that have a 5th grade reading level or below have a 70% higher chance of getting a response. This may seem counterintuitive given that most of the prospects that you're reaching out to are probably well educated. Most of them even have advanced degrees, but even they want to be able to consume the message quickly and easily. And by using simple language that I can quickly scan with my eyes one time and absorb all of the information, this is going to ensure that my prospect takes in everything that I'm saying and increases the chance of them responding. Watching out for run-on sentences is huge. A lot of sellers use really colorful language, complex words in an attempt to sound more intelligent. They oftentimes can't think of exactly what to say, so they'll keep adding more and more words to try to add context. It's better to pare it down, keep it simple, make your sentences short and tight, easy to read, and this is going to significantly increase the chance that your prospect reads and responds to your email. Finally, my last tip number 8, is don't ask for time directly in your email. Now, the old sales trainings of the past would tell you to throw out 3 or 4 potential times or to include your scheduling link. Throwing out times in an email is almost disrespectful to your prospect. If you're reaching out, especially to a C-suite executive, assuming that they're going to give you time when you haven't built value by sending them a little bit more support in the sequence is unlikely. The majority of my calls actually get booked on the 2nd or the 3rd email. It's rarely booked on the 1st. So my ask is generally, would you be opposed to hearing more about this? Would you be opposed to spending some time talking about this, as opposed to throwing out times directly? Another thing that you can do is gauge their interest. The whole point of this ask in the first email is to get a temperature check. Does any of this sound remotely interesting to you? Does this sound like something that can help at Acme Co? Ending your email with an ask like that is going to lead to a response more often than just throwing out times, because you're actually engaging with them and asking for a response on how they're feeling about this or their interest in this. Now, if you're writing emails like this a ton, you're probably looking for ways to scale out your messaging. What's great about Magical is you can use the templates feature, which you can see right here. This finance email that I've written, I'm going to use this for all the finance stakeholders that I'm going to be reaching out to from BudgetCo. And so I went ahead and I added a trigger called finance. And now when I go to my inbox, I can quickly send this email out to folks. So I've already used one of those subject lines that we came up with earlier. I'm going to go ahead and put 2 dashes and finance. I'm going to pull up that finance sequence. I'm going to add the name of my prospect, insert that in, and now I'm ready to send this email off, and I can easily do this at scale. I can create as many variations as I would like for multiple stakeholders in different departments, or even create different variations for these finance buyers. Once again, those 8 steps are: subject lines should be 3 to 4 words max. Subject lines are not for selling your product, they're for piquing interest. Emails should always be structured in a 3x3 format with 3 sentences per paragraph, no more than 3 paragraphs per email. The breakdown of the 3x3 should be context, value, and then ask. Make sure that your first 7 to 10 words are attention grabbing and give specific context to the stakeholder that you're reaching out to. Keep your read times to 30 seconds or less. Simple words and avoid complex language to keep your reading level at a 5th grade level or below. Finally, don't ask for times directly in your first call. Make sure next time you're writing outbound emails, you give these tips a try. Use Magical AI to help you come up with subject lines, help you write new language using AI, and create templates that you can use to scale out your outbound processes.